We're really ready now.
All right. Welcome, everybody. Do we have any additions to our agenda? Let's go ahead and call our meeting to order. Do we have any additions to our agenda? Can you hear me, John?
We can. No, I'm
Oh,
good.
No
Thanks.
additions? Okay. Is there a motion to approve our agenda?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. I'm on my phone, so I can't see everybody. If you just let me know who it is so they can put it in the minutes, I'd appreciate that.
Andy
Is that
makes
Andy?
the motion to approve agenda.
Thank you, Andy.
Second, Brittany.
Thank you, Brittany. Is there any discussion with the agenda? All right, all those in favor of approving the agenda, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, moving into our consent agenda.
Patty, I'll make the motion, Justin, to approve.
Thank you, Justin.
Second by Mike.
Thanks, Mike. Is there any discussion with the consent agenda? All right, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, moving into our executive director's report. John.
Thank you, everyone. Just talk briefly about our innovation fund. We had a remarkable number of applications this year. Those people that have been scoring in the past probably noted we had a higher than we have ever had before in the first round, which is great. We actually had more than what we allocated. So we scored out all the grants. We determined to not one grant as it did not meet the scoring criteria to receive funding. And then we chose to decrease two other grants from the 25,000 that was requested to 15,000 on two other grants, which brought us into our allocated budgeted amount. In particular, we had three projects that I think are very strongly scalable to our operational practices moving forward. Two other projects were really great projects as well, but three in particular really have some strength and scalability. We had of the schools that applied, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 12, 13. I think we had 15 total schools that are going to benefit from the innovation grant funds this year, if I'm counting correctly. One question that was brought up during the scoring, we discussed it at the planning committee meeting, was the two that were brought down from 25 to 15. Would the board consider an additional 20,000 to fund those projects at full? The scoring committee was wondering if that's a recommendation or something that the board would support.
I'm curious, is there, maybe there's a financial question would be, are there clear areas we could fund it from?
From the SEEK area, I mean, we have the $20,000 in our, it would be in our carryover. It wouldn't be anything that we've had budgeted particular, but yes, we have the $20,000 that would be part of our carryover. However, we set an amount, and we scored them out, and this was a recommendation from the team. So I would say, it depends on where the board wants to land on this. Do we want to stick to the amount that we had budgeted, or when we have good projects, do we want to consider fluctuating from that amount?
I think we have to be careful because you could have next year you could have more good projects, and then we have to determine a dollar amount. I don't feel very comfortable just increasing it every year just because there's good projects. So I am more in the camp that we set $100,000, which is quite a bit, and then going forward, if we need to increase that, then that's another discussion. But next year we could have 8 great projects. Then what are we going to do? So.
I'm in Patty's camp on this one. If we continue to fund the additional ones, the grant's really not competitive and people won't take it as seriously. So the precedent it sets is not too positive, in my opinion.
So John, I was a little bit different than Patty on this, and we talked about it at our last meeting. So I was in favor of funding them, but I can live with not funding them. And I think we could maybe relook at the amount, moving forward into next year. I do, as I emphasized at our previous meeting, I do think it's great that we're able to give back to the schools, and I think it's really good that we're doing that. So I'm okay with not funding them this year, but next year maybe we look at, and that's not a question for now. We can talk about it later about what we want the amount to be. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
And should we have a cap on if one project can get more money? And we haven't really talked about that. If there's more projects, there should be a total that you can apply for instead of just leaving that open. Maybe that's another discussion for later on.
Yeah, there is a maximum you can apply for per school, and if you have a consortium, it goes up a little bit. But I as part of the innovation committee or scoring committee, I don't think we should go over the number at this time, just because, like you said earlier, it does set a precedence for future years, which I'd be uncomfortable doing.
I have a simple question that's maybe for our executive director. Can you give us one or two examples, or maybe who was on the committee of the projects that were funded?
Sure. I'll also have Kate email out the summary of all the projects to all the board members, but I'll give just a brief synopsis of the projects that were submitted. I'll just go quickly. We had a project from Northern Cass that was to utilize grant funds to create an app to track Northern Cass's essential skills graduation requirements, including job shadows, work-based internships, and community services. Wahpeton had a project that was increasing funding for equipment for what the committee agreed to be an existing program, so they agreed not to fund the Wahpeton one. Waimea had a project. It was a kind of an individual teacher project, but the project is working to foster growth and expansion in the classroom and the K-12 rural community school by providing students with meaningful real-world learning experiences that connect community knowledge with scientific inquiry. At its core, the project invites students to check out two types of book: living books, human books, and living systems books. It's a project that the teacher is going to be engaging with the community, other people to come into the classroom to help support. That was a really good project. Then we had 3 projects that are working with Optimize Ed Strategic Solutions. The first project is a dashboard. It's executive dashboard. Helps centralize school district goals into an executive dashboard and helps create more board and meeting automation as well. Jamestown Public was recipient of that grant. Kindred, Maple Valley, and Griggs County were in another project with Optimize Ed. This was the operational suite. It has a substitute teacher and staff management system along with a grant finder and proposal writer for those schools. So those 3 schools collaborated. The other Optimize Ed was the instructional suite, which helps unpack North Dakota standards, has a lesson plan unit writer, IEP SMART goal writer, accommodations, modifications, PBIS strategy finder, FBA, BIP draft assistant, and some other tools that are directly classroom driven. That one was Lisbon, Barnes County North, Edgeley, Lemoore, Litchfield, Marion, Mapleton, Milner, and Oaks were part of that. The last one was Fargo Public Schools submitted a senior high alternative center. SHAC will be an innovative embedded micro school within Fargo South High, designed to re-engage at-risk learners and guide them toward graduation, recognizing that one size fits all model does not meet the diverse needs of all learners, but provide an alternative learning environment focused on relationships, flexibility, and personalized pathways. So those were the brief synopsis of the projects, but like I said, Kate will send out to all the group just a little bit broader overview of them. And if anybody wants to read the entire applications, we certainly can share those as well. for anybody who wants to see it, but I put together a spreadsheet that gives a summary of each project.
I know I'd mentioned to John that going forward, I would like to see how these projects end up after they get started, to come back and seek what the dollars were used for, and they are sustainable on their own, and that they're probably replicable to other districts, that we're just not giving money to one district for a project, because I think that's kind of the idea of the innovation, but we don't always hear about the after effects to see if those dollars really did, have some impact, which I think would be good for us to have as a board, and to justify why we're spending the dollars that we are. So that was my thought.
Yep, and I think, I just target the one from Optimized Ed, the substitute and staff management system and grant finder and personal writer. If that's an effective solution in helping organize the subs and staff management for those schools, that's definitely replicable across the whole SEEK. All of the schools might consider that. Most schools already have a package, but if they have a package that was an internal process that they had their own, then that might be more beneficial to them. Just to identify quickly, we did have a little bit of fluctuation in our scorers this year, as Justin and Mitch, as I referenced, were part of the one project, and Jay DeCan, he's the other superintendent that's part of the scoring committee. He was part of one project too. So we invited an additional person in. Janelle from Carrington has always been part of it as well. But then we invited Rob Black from Jamestown to be part of the scoring too. So the superintendents that were on one of the projects, they didn't score their own. So we were able to have at least 3 scorers on each project. So we diversified our scoring a little bit, but yeah. Other questions about Innovation Fund?
Sounds like exciting stuff.
Just bouncing off you, Patty, I'm wondering, I think we all kind of know, what the projects are, maybe how they can be replicated. I'm wondering just even if we could have like a short survey that goes out like a year later, just so we have some trending data, even as new board members come on. It just might be good information. Nothing too complicated that takes a lot of time, but just, basically, is it still in use? Has it been replicated to other districts? And maybe we could add their final score just to see even if our scoring matches, what maybe making sure we're scoring and measuring what we want to measure also. So just a thought.
I like that too. I like the evaluation part, that it's not just dollars going out with no accountability towards it.
Yes, I had this discussion at our board level, school board level. There's a fallacy that you can just write a grant if you need money. And I had to explain to them, these are typically for new things, but this is one of the only grants I'm aware of where there's not a report out system, at least in my grant writing world. So it seems very appropriate.
There is a report out at the end, but what I think we could do is get a summary of information and have that available for our August retreat. And maybe we just put that down as an agenda item, since we have a little bit more time at our August retreat, and kind of, as Justin suggested, consideration for potentially increasing the money if we had a summary of the current projects available for that August retreat, and then maybe some survey information for the schools that are intending to continue that, or the scalability of the current projects that are in existence. And then we could have that as part of our discussion as we consider increasing or not increasing the amount. Okay. Any other questions?
So we're okay. We don't need a board approval. I mean, we don't need an agenda item for that, but is everyone okay just leaving it where we're at? Otherwise, we'd have to have a motion. Okay. Well, thanks for that. Do you want to move on to the next paraeducator project, John?
Yep, this would be pretty short. We were awarded a project from the state. This is kind of a continuation of a project that we had last year. Last year, late August 2024, DPI came to us and they wanted us to develop 20 to 25 courses to be built into the North Dakota Education Hub. Then they wanted to pay paras to take those courses. So they needed a funding mechanism to flow the money to school districts to be paid to paras. I don't know that they completely budgeted out what that project would look like, because they were considering paying paras for 10 courses is what they were targeting. And if you do the math, there's, approximately 1,500 paras or more that are registered through the PERO2 report in DPI times $20 times 10 courses, you're up to about 300 grand, and you haven't even created the courses yet. So they thought, oops, we don't have quite that much money. So they just asked us last year to build the course. So we did. We had a project last year. We built, I believe it's 22 courses that are embedded into the North Dakota Education Hub. And this year they came back and they had some money for special ed paras to receive additional training. So we developed a new project with them this year that has us building 5 new courses and then reimbursing districts or paying districts for 3 courses submitted on a quarterly basis. So $20 per course, districts can be reimbursed, but it's only for special ed paras. So a para has to have their certification entered into the PERO2 report on STARS in order to seek reimbursement for that para. So it's about a $102,000 project, but I think 85 of it or something like that goes just back out to the schools and payments for paras taking the course. The rest of it is a little bit of admin and some fiscal for us and building 5 new courses. Any questions on that project? We keep going, Patty. Okay, new hires. Dawn Hunt is our new North Dakota After School Network lead. She has some previous experience working in another REA. We're really excited to bring her on. She's just a wealth of information, and we're just excited to have her as part of our team here. I think she's going to bring some great leadership to the North Dakota After School Network, and we're excited. She just started a couple weeks ago, but kind of hit the ground running and has been doing a great job.
Quick note on that. I serve on that North Dakota After School Network leadership team. We have a meeting on Thursday. I invited her to come tour one of my after school sites, and she said, I will be there for sure. She was very enthusiastic. So I have not met her, but her bio was pretty impressive. So this SEEK board member is pretty excited to work with her.
Great. Thanks, Robin. Tina Brin is a new staff member in our teaching and learning department. She comes to us from Barnes County North. Thank you, Mr. Curry. We've been working with Mr. Curry to figure out exactly what that relationship is for Tina to join our team this year. She joined us in September. It's working out well. She hit the ground running as well, jumped right into some projects, and has been part of several committees and been out in the schools already doing some school visits and providing supports to the schools. We continue to contract or MOU with Barnes County North to have her going there. I believe it's 15 days this year. Maybe it's 10. I can't remember the exact number, but we're going to support her continuing to do some of her work that she was doing at Barnes County North as she's employed by SEEK, which is a nice relationship for us to have with Barnes County North and supporting them as well. Any questions about Tina?
Are we fully staffed now, John?
Well, not quite. We're looking for a combo position right now. We have a resignation in our CCA, and we're looking for kind of a combo position that would also be replacing that current position and then supporting some admin assistant duties here, printing, label making, some different work that is involved in just some of our PD events and things like that, and then just general around the office here, some supports too. So we're posting that position to help support both the office and CCA on that.
That's not bad.
No, feeling pretty good.
All right. Should we move into our work plan stuff? Anything else, John? Okay. So the first one we're looking at is the BED3, the staff accountability. This one we're just going to take a look at and see if there's any changes, but it's pretty straightforward. what our role as the board and, not directing, having, John as our direct contact as the executive director. But if there's any questions or comments, otherwise, we're just going to approve that this policy is acceptable going forward for another year.
Make that motion, Mitch.
Thank you, Mitch.
I'll second it, Phil.
Thank you, Phil. Is there any discussion? I'm happy to work with boards when this policy is pretty simple, but not everybody has boards that actually follow it. So thank you all for being good stewards of this. All those in favor of approving this policy, say aye.
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 Those
Aye.
opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. All right, moving into our next policy, which is the emergency succession policy. Did you want to give us an update on that, John, or
Sure.
and the evidence is on there?
Yep. I've been working on this one a little bit the last couple months here, trying to identify, Brittany Gandhi used to always say when I was special ed director, what happens if John got hit by a bus?
Mhm.
That's what she would always say. So in looking at that tragic, hopefully not going to happen event, identified Keeley and Hunter as would be the people that would take over the day-to-day operational responsibilities, decision-making here, partly due to their both 12-month staff. That's one of the lead factors. So looking at that overall, though, we have our leadership meetings that we have at least once a month. So more broadly, our directors would still be very much involved in operationally how the organization moves forward. The rest of the policy, we just hired executive director a year ago. So as far as the hiring process, we also updated the policy manual a year ago too. So all of those things are in place. So just the initial one. My intention is to meet with Hunter and Keeley at least twice a month, just to update them on where we're at with the policy stuff related to results policies and board policies, so they're aware of it. They're going to be attending our planning committee meetings as well as we move forward. So just those pieces will be in place. Robin?
Yeah, I have to write my own policy like this, and this implies you will be permanently gone. You might consider adding in if you have an extended absence for interim as well, and then how that would cascade down to other people on your team, their responsibilities. I'm happy to share with you mine. I'm not saying you should do it, but something you may want to consider.
Sure.
Very
I'll
good
send
point, Robin. Yep.
Yeah, I'll send that.
And we can make that change after. Is there any other questions in regards to the succession policy? I would someone make a motion to, in compliance for the emergency successions, the EDE1.
So moved, Brittany.
Thank you, Brittany.
Second, Andy.
Thanks, Andy. Is there any more discussion?
Just a question with that recommendation from Robin, which I think is a good one. I mean, I don't think we'd have to change the policy, but then it might just be something to, because it is written, I believe, in terms of, I guess.
And I think, Brittany, what we'd do is we would actually monitor this one and then make a recommendation to change and bring that back as a policy change going forward.
Okay.
And you're right. I think Brittany had a great point that we never want anyone to get hit by a bus, but I think it's important we have these succession plans, especially as a board who doesn't work directly with the staff. So I know I appreciate that in our district too. So it was a very good point.
John, I have softened that language a little bit.
I know.
Especially on my own team. Like if you're gone for a bit,
I like that. All right. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor of approving the emergency succession plan is in compliance, say aye.
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 Those opposed, same sign. All right, motion carries. All right, moving on to the EDE2, the engagement with stakeholder policy.
For protect confidential information, we went through a process 2024 through NDIT and the agency's third-party IT provider. During that time, they went through criminal history, student data covered under the FERPA and protected health information. We completed that last year and then updated all the security information related to that. Additionally, our staff complete FERPA training as part of the initial onboarding annual staff training. And we are now also going into just now, my computer just was updated now, that we will need to use multi-factor authentication to log into Office 365 now. So we'll add that as well to that area of protecting confidential information. The next part is effectively handle concerns and complaint. We have a grievance policy, complaints and grievance policy. I'd create a grievance summary report for you, but we don't have any. So I guess that's my summary of a report. We don't have any written grievances or complaints at this time. So I don't have any to report there, which is probably a good thing, I guess. Moving on into maintain organizational culture that values individual differences and opinions. This is one of the areas. Organization culture is a key factor in our operational policy plan, as you guys noted. We've chosen to engage with our staff more than 5 times, but specifically 5 meetings throughout the year here we have scheduled. At each of those meetings, we're going to review our mission, vision, values, and results policies along with our operational plan. What our focus is trying to create the language amongst all of our staff that commits us to the work that we do that's related to our mission, vision, and values. This has been really a strong piece that we've leaned into so far this year. We've had 2 staff meetings. The second part of those agenda staff meetings are going to be breakout discussions in targeted areas. Our first targeted area in our October meeting was transparency. Transparency was one of the areas that we didn't score as high as we would have liked last year on our Vital Network survey. There's a couple other areas. Sense of belonging is another area. Communication is another area. Those are some areas that we didn't necessarily score like super low, but they're areas that we could definitely target some growth in. So we're going to talk about mission, vision, values. We're going to have program updates, and then we break into breakout sessions at each one of these staff meetings, getting feedback from staff on what those things mean. What does transparency mean to you? So we set up some lead questions, break into our breakouts. They do some discussion. They report out on one of our forms, and we're going to collect that data and discuss it as a leadership team to see if there's any changes that we need to do, any corrections, or any additional training that we might need to complete. We're also looking at our staffs, the survey that was created by Vital Network, and we've created our own staff survey. The goal of that is to not lose the information that we had from Vital Network, but be able to rely upon that information through this year as well to help guide us and not completely abandon that. So many of the questions are kind of parallel, so we can guide from the data from last year into this year. And then moving forward, we use our own survey data to help guide where our areas of growth would be. That survey will be sent out probably next week to staff. We just finished the final edits on it. It'll be sent out 2 times a year. We're going to do it probably November. We might get it a little bit earlier next year, but November this year, and then probably in March or April, we'll send it out again. It's about a 15 to 20 minute survey. I think it's about 45 questions. So it's a few questions, but really targeted at some of those areas that we want to continue to improve in. Our leadership team, as part of one of our operational plans, is to look at the current compensation structure. We're not sure that we're going to change anything, but we need to have a discussion about it to see where we can set pathways for growth for our staff. One of the areas that staff has expressed to us is they're not sure what that pathway of leadership or growth opportunities might exist within our organization. So is their pathway of growth just their annual 2%, 3% salary adjustments, or is there a pathway to leadership or growth or a higher position? So we had about a 45-minute conversation Monday at our leadership team. It was a really good conversation. We're just really trying to figure out what are our goals related to that and where are our points of contact that we need to improve. one of the thoughts there is one of our greatest attributes that we want to exemplify is our flexibility, our ability to hire people, to bring them in. That makes us more attractive. But at the same time, we need to offer, once we get people in, pathways for growth in professional development. In an effort to strengthen our cross-department collaboration, we've reestablished the PD PLC group. They are meeting monthly. 3 departments get together and talk about the PD. We look at a lot of things within that. One of the big pieces is our school liaison visits. So we've increased our number of school district liaisons. I think we had like 3 to 5 last year. Now we have 7 to 9, but our 7 to 9 are from across departments. They're not just, before there was mostly just teaching and learning. Now we have school liaisons from all our departments going out, and then we assemble in the conference room, our training room, and have a very robust discussion about what we're working on. It's interesting, last time we had, we did a little poster boards around the room, and then we had some Post-it notes, and people wrote down from their school liaison visits some of the information they gleaned, and then we put it up on Post-it notes, and then we were able to, you know, like there was a Post-it note, several about math. So we pulled all those green Post-it notes about math and handed them to Ryan. Said, man, there's some math things you need to follow up with. So it was a nice way to organize ourselves and also continue to engage in our school district connections, which is coming up here in our next part of our policy review here. Protect against wrongful, illegal, or illegal conditions. We have a policy that manual that includes the operational pieces to ensure those are in place. The policy manual also establishes operating policies and procedures to ensure compliance with state and federal laws. Policy manual also includes discrimination, favoritism, harassment, sexual harassment policies. We're required to review those on an annual basis and acknowledge that as well. The last one, number 7, is about stakeholder engagement and our relationships. So just to talk a little bit about, again, this is also an area of emphasis, is our stakeholder engagement. We are really looking at what is our opportunity to connect with our schools. As I talked about, our school liaison process has grown. We're going to continue to have the executive director do at least 2 school visits. Last year we did 3. A couple of superintendents said, I don't need to see you 3 times, John, just target 2. So we're planning 2. I got 2 schools left I got to get out to yet. I had a couple of cancellations in my first couple rounds. So I got a couple of schools I got to get out to yet. A couple are already on the calendar for the next couple of weeks. We're going to continue to do our 5-second survey to the superintendents. That just basically is, are you doing okay? Or would you like someone to contact you? Or you have something to talk about? So it's really just one question, but it's a nice connecting point and allows us to, if superintendents do have a question, allows us an opportunity to follow up with them. We're going to be creating a district, I'll say school satisfaction, stakeholder satisfaction survey. We're just beginning to review that now. We have it targeted right now at districts, at school districts, but we're trying to build it to be more comprehensive to include the other stakeholders that we work with as well. So we're broadening that as a little bit more as well. Child Care Aware continues to maintain and grow and explore additional partnerships across the state. Keely just jumped on. She was at the governor's, was it early childhood cabinet meeting? Is that correct?
Yep, the early childhood subcommittee of the Children's Cabinet.
There you go. That's what it is. So thanks for joining us, Keely. The stakeholder satisfaction survey, we're hoping to have it developed. Well, we will have it developed by late winter, spring to be administered. We have an initial draft. Like I said, we just need to figure out how to blend in some of those additional stakeholder groups that aren't just district people. So we'll be working on that through November, December with our leadership team and get a draft ready to be sent out probably late winter, February or March, so we can get some of those results back. For lack of a better title, we're calling it a satisfaction survey right now. I don't know that I like that terminology, but that's really kind of what it's measuring is, you know, what our engagement, are we engaged with our stakeholders well enough? And what are those areas we can grow in? Questions about this policy, areas that you want some more detail on?
I just maybe have a thought going forward, since you know that our people and the engagement with our districts are the two priorities in there. If we could start keeping data points that can show growth, or as Dr. Flowers says, what gets measured gets done. And that way you can see what last year's was compared to this year, compared to next year, and can see where we've improved and maybe the processes in place are working. Or you may find out the processes in place aren't working, or what those details are. But I think when you have charts, it's a lot easier for us to understand that, but also I think for you and your staff to kind of show where we've come and where we're going, and hopefully there's growth.
Yep. That's the target of some of the questions, exactly that, Patty, to create that data that we can start looking at to track where we're at.
Yep. It's great. Is there any other questions from the group? I would entertain a motion then for engagement with stakeholders.
I'll make a motion to approve. This is Phil.
Thanks,
Second
Phil.
by Mike. Second by Mike.
Oh, thank you, Mike. Sorry. Is there any other discussion? All right, all those in favor of saying EDE2, engagement with stakeholders and compliance, say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right, moving on to the last one, review results policies.
Our results policies are not due until January to be reviewed formally by the board, but I wanted to give just a snapshot of the PowerPoint that we used at our last staff meeting. Kate's trying to bring it up here. Our internet's a little slow today.
And that's some of the charts that you were talking about. Sorry, I missed that, John.
Are you guys seeing the October 2 staff meeting PowerPoint on your screens?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Go ahead and toggle it. There you go. So you can see as Kate's kind of strolling through here, you'll see how we've been hitting on, unfortunately, the first September meeting. They got to listen to me for about 45 minutes, talk about our mission, vision, values, our operational plan and results policies, all our staff, which culminated in, you can pause it here for a second, Kate, thank you. What we talked about is how do we embed this into our day-to-day work? What we asked our directors to do as part of our leadership is, as we're discussing issues, as we're discussing projects in our own internal department meetings, to talk about how that engages with our results policy or our operational plan. They really kind of took that to the nth degree, if you would, and we'll see that in the upcoming slides. But what I also challenged staff to do at our September meeting was to take a look at this and pin it up someplace in their work area or pin it on their computer so they come back to it occasionally and take a look at it to really try to consider how their work is connected to our overall results policies and our operational plan. All staff have really engaged in this. We've started responding, even with responses to grants and things like that, that correlate directly to our strategic initiatives, how we measure that, and what our results policies. Go ahead and keep going, Kate. Thank you. You can see here's our results policies, and this is just a brief update of what we'll show more of in November. Pretty low numbers here. I think we have a 182. This is our PD, looking at increased knowledge and increased skills. Usually we have about 1,500 participants. So this one's probably really a better end of the year, but we'll give an update of where it's at come January at our board meeting. But right now, just to show to Patty's point, we're going to be able to present our results policies this year in a graphical, like you see bar graphs, line graphs, which will be really helpful in you guys considering and seeing how we're doing. You can kind of keep scrolling, Kate. This is our school. Schools participate in at least one collaborative partnership. All of our districts are participating except for 4. Those 4 school districts happen to be 4 private schools. So all of our public schools participate in at least one of our collaborative partnerships. Just the 4 our private schools are not. You keep going, Kate. This is student programs, pretty early for us to be reporting out any student information related to AmeriCorps. This is data up through October, I think. Keep going. Here's our stakeholder engagement. You can see our touch points that we've connected with all of the schools. So we'll give this as an update again in January as well. And now you'll see these next couple slides. You can see this is how we're reporting out to our staff in our staff meetings. You can see Keely's update directly taking one of the or many of the results, policies, operational plans, and correlating it directly to the targets of work that we're doing. Jen group did a great job as well. You can see the direct connection to our results, policies, and operational plan as well there. And Carrie with the literacy department. And then Hunter's getting us working on some fleet cards. But again, coming back to that financial material, which is that's a really interesting project that we're going to be looking at. Instead of using credit cards, we're going to target a Casey's fuel card program, which then we're going to get our tax exemption and we're going to get a little bit of a discount. And then we're going to centralize our fuel billing through just 3 cards that are put in our travel packets as opposed to multiple people having credit cards. So yeah, keep going, Kate. This is just kind of a breakout. So this is, we broke our people out into, as I talked about, those programmatic areas of discussion. So this was our groups for transparency, and keep going, Kate. And then we have a form that they link into to report their information breakout from each of those groups. So then we're going to be able to review that information from our leadership team. And that breakout group activity form links into, I think it's a spreadsheet that Chris can download all the information and then share it out to us for each of the questions as we move forward. And I'll exit the share screen then. Like I said, we don't really need any action on the results policies. I just wanted to give the board a quick update because it kind of summarizes all the things that I talked about in the previous couple policies about our staff engagement, our cultural growth that we're working on here, as well as our lean into on our operational plan related to our results policies. Any questions about how we'll report that information out to you guys in January?
No, I really like seeing the staff and all their responsibilities. So to put the, you know, who does what project is a good reminder.
Yeah, I
So I
agree. I just think it's helpful to see and helpful for staff to know how they're connected to the overall goals. So it's yeah, good work.
That's all I got, Patty.
Oh, anyone else have anything to share for the cause today? We're pretty early. If not, boy, we don't have a meeting till January, right, John?
Yeah.
We have, I don't think we have one in December, do we?
No, I don't believe so.
So that means we won't see each other until after the holidays. So everyone enjoy your holidays. It's hard to believe we're talking about Thanksgiving and Christmas already, but
Especially when it's going to be 60 degrees on Friday.
yeah, let's enjoy that. Thanks everybody for all you do. We appreciate it. And we will see you in January. Thank you.